Mayor Jones, do you wish to make any announcements?
I would, Chair. Thank you. Colleagues, last week saw the landmark decision at South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority Board to award us the gain share funding. This enables us to fully reopen Doncaster Sheffield Airport. I've said all along that I want to open our airport as soon as possible. Over the summer, whilst we were supporting Simca as they undertook assurance works, and during our continued discussions with airlines, it became clear that our aim for passenger flights in spring 26 was no longer achievable. To provide more details of this, if all goes to plan, we should have our airspace and aerodrome certification signed off before the end of June 26. Whilst in discussions with airlines over the summer, they could have committed to flights starting towards the end of June 26 on the basis that we had been granted our airspace and aerodrome certification. However, both of these are out of our control. I've faced criticism from opposition parties in relation to the shift of dates, but let me be perfectly clear. Fully reopening an airport is far more complicated than anyone within this room could envisage. But let there be no doubt, it will be under my leadership that this council will fully reopen Doncaster Sheffield Airport. We already have 2XL flying from DSA, and with a fair wind, and if everything goes to plan in respect of airspace, aerodrome certification and negotiations with airlines and freight operators, then in summer 26 we should see freight aircraft return to Doncaster. And before the end of 26, passengers being able to book their holidays taking off from Doncaster for the winter 27-28. As I said previously, the negotiations with airlines will determine when passenger flights return, and I've also stated that the interdependencies, including airspace and aerodrome certification. We now have the gain share funding agreed, so works will ramp up over the coming months. Fully reopening an airport certainly isn't easy. That is why last week we launched the search for 3 senior managers who will be pivotal in setting an airport and running the ground operations. The roles: Head of General Aviation and Cargo, Head of Fire Rescue and Emergency Planning, and Head of Assets are being advertised on City of Doncaster Council's website, with the closing dates being the end of September, with the plan to have these posts all in place by January at the latest. Each of the roles are expected at this level require high-level expertise and a significant track record in delivery and experience. Rest assured, this is just the beginning as we work to fully reopen our airport and create the jewel in the crown we all know it can and should be. There will be more roles advertised in the coming weeks, which are essential to getting the airport ready for freight and then for passenger flights. One of the most important stages next will be to fully establish Fly Doncaster, and for meetings of Cabinet and full Council to consider the necessary decisions required, including finance and governance. This will also include the establishment of the Airport Consultative Committee. A lot of people have worked very hard to get us to where we are today, and I'd like to thank Council staff who've put in hard work over years to make this reopening of the airport possible. You do not see the hours, the dedication and commitment to the airport from staff like I do. Much of this is done on top of the day job, so I'd like to thank them for their professionalism, dedication and hard work. As ever, this type of decision will go through the full decision-making process, including the relevant scrutiny through Overview and Scrutiny Management Committee, and in the interest of openness and transparency, as little as possible will be on restricted pink papers. So, another step closer to fully reopening Doncaster Sheffield Airport and making our ambitions become reality. I now have a further announcement, Chair. Big neighbourhood conversation. Council, as I am sure you are all aware, we are currently undertaking a significant consultation exercise with our residents and communities across the city of Doncaster called the Big Neighbourhood Conversation. The deadline for submissions has now been extended until this Sunday, the 21st of September. I would encourage you all to both complete the survey and share it across your communities. We want to know what our residents like about where they live and what they would like to see improved, with some suggestions on how we can help make those changes happen. The feedback will be used to inform my refreshed borough strategy as well as my plans for next year's budget. Once consultation closes and we have collated all the data, we will be able to provide councillors with a ward-by-ward analysis. My message to the people of Doncaster is to get involved, have your say, and work with us to improve all our communities across this great city. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. At this point, I'd just like to revert back to housekeeping, and it is rather warm this evening. So if people want to take jackets off, that's absolutely fine by me. And just to remind people that there is a water fountain over in the corner. So if you do need to get some fresh air or have a quick drink, then please do so, because it's important that we stay safe. Thank you. Moving on, Deputy Mayor, do you have any announcements?
I have none, Chair. Thank you.
Any other Cabinet members? Councillor Nevitt, please.
Thank you, Chair. My announcement today is about the recent CQC inspection. The Care Quality Commission, often abbreviated to the CQC, has been assessing how local authorities meet their adult social care duties under the 2014 Care Act. All 153 local authorities in England will have been assessed by the end of March 2026. Following assessment, each local authority is graded by the CQC on a scale from outstanding to good to requires improvement to inadequate. Just over 1/3 of councils have had their assessments completed by the CQC. A tiny number have received outstanding or inadequate ratings. Most councils to date have either been assessed as good or as requiring improvement. Doncaster's assessment by the Care Quality Commission was recently completed, and we are waiting to receive our report. I am expecting this in the next few weeks. A huge amount of information was shared with the CQC. We submitted over 300 written documents. People receiving care gave consent for CQC to review individual support that they had been given. CQC carried out a large number of interviews with Doncaster people, carers, care organisations, partners and council staff. Overall, CQC were given full access to information and testimony that will help them robustly assess how we are performing. The report they give us will be made available to the public. Under the leadership of Mayor Ros Jones, significant investment and support has been provided to adult social care in Doncaster. I am confident that the Care Quality Commission will identify strengths in this council that we can build on. There will also be areas for development. Regardless of the assessment that CQC provide, we will always look to continually improve, seeking to provide the best outcomes possible for Doncaster people who need care and support, the family members, friends and neighbours who provide essential unpaid care, and the adult social care workforce who work day and night to support the well-being of our residents. Thank you, Chair.